All right, boys. Semphis here. Step one of losing weight. Whether you're going to do a ketogenic diet, paleo diet, a normal bodybuilding bro diet, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. It's calories in versus calorie out. So I'm going to teach you how to calculate your calories. So we're going to go with the basic bro diet. Carbs, proteins, fat. Pretty standard stuff, whether you're vegan, vegetarian, meat eater, who cares? It still all applies to you. It just, you'll just be different food sources, right? So let's say you're 22, you're 5'10", you weigh 210 pounds, you go to one of these calorie calculator sites, you put in how many days a week you want to work out. So let's say you're gonna work out 3 or 4 times a week, right? All right, so to maintain your weight while working out, this is while working out, by the way, you need 3,000 calories. So that would be your maintenance. Now keep in mind that these numbers are not 100% accurate. They could be very off. Your metabolism could be faster or it could be slower. 2,700 calories might be 1 pound a week for you, or it could be your maintenance calories, right? There's no way of really knowing other than sticking to one of them for 2 weeks and weighing yourself each week at the same time every day when you wake up, after you go to the washroom. This will give you a baseline of what you weigh and whether or not the diet is working. So if you, after 2 weeks you've lost no weight, you know you have to cut more calories. Pretty basic. How would you do that? Cut about 250 calories off for a week, retest in a week. Now, let's say you picked 2,800 calories and you're losing your 0.5 pounds a week like you want, and everything's going good, and you lost 0.5 in a week. Great. Keep it the same for the next week. Don't ever change something until you stall. If your goal is being achieved by whatever you're doing, whatever you're eating in your activity level, keep it the same. Only add more activity, reduce calories, whatever option you want to go with when you stall. Do not do more for the sake of doing more if it is working. You always want to do the least amount to get the most results when it comes to fitness. That is just how it works, because you will eventually have to come down. Now, which one of these should you pick? Should you pick 0.5, 1, or 2? This, in my opinion, would be depending on how much you weigh. If you're very, very obese, 350 pounds, I would do more like 2 to 4 pounds a week, man. Like, honestly, you want to get about 100 pounds of that off as fast as you can. I have read some studies showing that very overweight people do better on one day very low calories, the next day eating their normal diet, and then the next day doing very low calories for a while to kind of get you used to it. I would suggest researching that if adherence is an issue, because I'm not an expert in it, but apparently that's what they're having a lot of more overweight people do now. It's more of a net total at the end of the week. So you have a couple days of like very low calories and a couple very high, which isn't normal for most people dieting. Now for a regular person that's just a bit overweight, want to trim down, 0.5 to 1 pound is pretty safe. So let's say you're going to go with the 1 pound. This is what most people would probably pick. Now, 1 pound, are you going to have a cheat day? Or you can have a cheat day, or you can have a cheat meal. I suggest cheat meal if you must have something you like in a week or go out. I would have 1 meal a week, not day. Days can undo a week of progress. A meal likely can't. If you're going to have a day of cheating, I would do 2 pounds a week, because that's the only thing that's going to save you on that day. If you are just going to do a meal, maybe, eating 2,400 calories and then you have your cheat meal, just whatever you want, and you don't worry about it, whatever. If it's working, it's working. You keep doing it. But cheating should be kept to a minimum, obviously. Some people need it for a mental break. You likely do not need refeeds or cheat meals to keep your metabolism high. You most likely never need one, actually. Some people will argue gremlin levels, thyroid levels, blah, 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 blah. This a calorie restricted diet will outweigh those variables every time, until you become very lean. So for the most part, I would try to avoid them. But if, like I said, like mentally you have to have one, then, which a lot of people do, don't think you're like failing because of it. Then I would just try to be realistic with yourself. Are you going to go ham on every Sunday? Are you going to go ham? Then I would make your weekly calories less. If you're just going to have a cheat meal, then maybe just do the 2,500 calories and then weigh yourself on the week and see, is that cheat meal making it more like 0.5? Or are you losing a pound? Because if you're still losing the pound, then who cares, right? But if the cheat meal is causing you to go from 1 to 0.5, then you might want to keep your calories like 2350. Just reducing a little bit in conjunction for that cheat meal. Another thing that you can do is on the day that you're going to have the cheat meal, you could reduce the calories throughout the day elsewhere. So maybe you're eating a smaller breakfast or skipping breakfast entirely up until that point. So you kind of create more of a calorie window for the cheat meal. That's what I used to do. When I would have my cheat meal, I haven't had one in 4 months right now. I don't really have that issue anymore. But like I said, at the start, I definitely did. So if you are that type of person that you're going to have one, plan for it, and if you really want, you could do 1 day of maintenance a week where you can eat more. But again, try to plan these things out. Like when I did weight loss, I did 2 pounds a week and I had 1 maintenance day. I think consistent 1 pound of loss a week is more sustainable because I was really hungry eating low calories like that. But like I said, teach their own. Some people rather suffer for 6 days to get their 1 day, which is totally fine. And some people rather never suffer but not get the treats, So kind of be honest with yourself about what type of person you are. Are you going to break? At the start, I'm not going to lie, most people will fail. I failed, most people fail. It's pretty normal. The important part is not to get really down on yourself and give up. So let's say you've been dieting for 3 weeks, everything's going good, you're losing your weight, then one day you just fucking go to Wendy's and you get 2 Baconators, a big fries, a large Coke, chicken nuggets. This is something that I did. And you eat it all, but you feel mad guilty after. You're super guilty. Oh man, I ruined everything. Do not do anything stupid. Don't go and throw up. Don't cut your calories for the rest of the week. Don't kill yourself doing 4 hours of cardio the next day. Just pretend it never happened. If it's a one-time off thing, just pretend it never happened. It likely will only make you hold a little bit of water. You'll look worse for a couple days and then it'll all go. So don't freak out if it's a one-time thing. Don't ruin all your progress and turn that 1 day into 1 week, into 2 weeks, until you're back at square one. So now, if you are cheating multiple times a week, you're screwing up, and there no amount of like there's no way to fix that other than just getting your self-control back. You can't outwork a bad diet. So if it's an odd occasional screw up, just pretend it never happened. Don't have your cheat day or cheat meal that week. Would be what I would do if I screwed up like that. Now, okay, so now you know the calories and we've discussed that. So how do you calculate the calories? Now, there's no exact perfect science for this kind of stuff, but if you take your body weight of 210 pounds and you times it by 0.3 to 0.45, this is the rough estimate of the amount of fats that you probably need for hormonal production. And you want fats in your diet. You need fats for testosterone and a bunch of other hormones in the body. So you don't want no fats. So let's just go on the high end, 0.4. So you're looking at 80 grams of fat a day, right? All right, so we got your fats, 80 grams of fat. It's 210 for protein requirements. How much protein are you going to eat? Now I'm assuming that you're going to work out. You don't have to technically work out to lose weight, although I would suggest doing so. It's going to make you look a lot better when you lose weight, and you're going to feel a lot better, and it's going to make your progress a lot better. Gaining muscle and losing weight at the same time when you're new is like a cheat code for looking better, because it doesn't last forever. And if you do not do resistance training while you're losing weight, your body will also get rid of your muscle. You need to kind of trick your body and be like, oh, I'm using this muscle. I cannot stand to lose it or I will die because it's thinking you're using this muscle to get food, to fight battles and stuff. It's not thinking that you're like going to a gym and lifting fake weights, right? Like, so if you're going to work out, a safe number is times 0.8. You can go lower or higher. This would put you at about 170 grams of protein. Times that by 4, you're looking at about 700 calories from protein and about 700 from fat, right? 80 times 9, yeah. So you're looking at 1,400 of your calories should come from fats and protein, and this number should not change. These numbers should be the same every day. What I would do is I manipulate carbs. So if you're eating 2,500 calories a day, well, you have about 1,000 carbs left, right? So 1,000 divided by 4, that's 250. Perfect, easy number. You could split that into 4 meals of 50 grams of carbs. You could split that into 3 meals. Meal timing, meal blah, 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 like whether you want to eat 1 meal, 10 meals, you want to do intermittent fasting, all this shit does not matter. Realistically, it doesn't. I don't find it fun to eat 170 grams of protein in 1 meal. That's just me. So I prefer to split my meals up. I eat 6 meals a day. I also eat 360 grams of protein. You likely do not. You're probably good eating 3 or 4 meals a day, unless you want to try intermittent fasting or something like that. Like I said, all this stuff will work. Calorie deficit is the most important thing. Meal timings, everything is irrelevant. So if you just want to get these macros down and eat these foods and eat the thing, that's great. This is all you have to do. You do this, you go work out a couple days a week, which I'll do a different video on after. But this is just a macro video. Once you have these macros, however you want to set up the food is up to you. However, if you want to learn from my advice and my experience, let's say you're working out 4 days a week. Okay, so you're going to gym 4 days a week. Now, 3 of those days are rest days. I would do 250 carbs, 250 to 300 grams of carbs a day on the workout days, and I would do 100 to 150 carbs on the rest days. I think that will benefit most people to put more of their carbs on their workout days and less on the rest days. It improves insulin sensitivity. You're not doing as much activity on the rest days. And on your rest days, I would just try to get your steps up. So at the start of a diet, get a foot step tracker, check how many steps you're doing, and try to walk more. If school is 10 minutes away, walk there. Don't drive. If you're going to go to the grocery store and it's 20 minutes away on your rest day, walk there and back. Like just throwing in ways to force yourself to get little bits of movement throughout the day is all you need for cardio. You do not have to do HIIT cardio every day, sweating and dying and killing yourself doing this. You don't have to do that. So trying to get some average steps up a day is likely very beneficial. You don't want to do nothing on your rest days, but that's a different topic entirely. So how would I do these macros? So if I was going to train in the evening, my first meal would be high fat, high protein, and some veggies. So maybe something like 6 eggs. 6 eggs is going to put you at about 40-ish grams of protein and about 30-ish grams of fat with some veggies. Bam, you got almost half your fats there. So I'd eat that meal, and then 2 to 4 hours, however long it's going to be, before your next meal, I would have chicken, like 200 grams of chicken, with an avocado, maybe like 150 grams of avocado or something like that. I'd have to check how much all these calories are, but another 20 grams of 20 grams of fat from an avocado. So you're looking at, you're about at 50 grams of fat at this point. And some veggies. A good way to make your meals bigger is adding cauliflower rice, asparagus spirals, broccoli, anything that will make your food more dense. If you fry up cauliflower rice with asparagus spirals and you put chicken, avocado, and you mix your rice in, it makes it seem like your rice is double the amount. So your meal is like, well, you wouldn't have rice in this meal, but you know what I mean? It kind of simulates rice. So that's kind of a little trick that I use. And then I use a lot of sugar-free, zero-calorie sauces. So that would be my next meal. So that'd be at 2 meals. You'd be at about 80 grams of protein, and you'd be at about 50 grams of fat at this point. So then let's say you're going to eat you're going to work out after dinner, like later in the evening. So this meal, I would make it quite carb heavy. I would eat 80 to 100 grams of carbs here. White rice, potatoes, it doesn't really matter. I would do rice because I think it digests faster or better, and some chicken. Or if you want to do something smaller, you could do like a scoop of 2 scoops of protein powder and some oatmeal or something like that. And if you don't want a big meal and you just want to quickly go train or something like that, it doesn't really matter where your food sources are coming from. But this meal would put you, I'll put quite a bit of carbs here. I would do less carbs if you like to drink like a Gatorade or some sort of carbs while you work out in the meal. But let's just say you're not going to do that for making it easier. So let's say you do 100 grams of carbs in this meal and 40 protein. So we're at 120 grams of protein. We're at 50 fats, and we're at 100 carbs right now. So we have about 30 fats left, and we got about 60 protein-ish, 50, 60 protein left, and about 150 carbs. So you got a lot of carbs left. Now after you go and you train, you do not need to slam a protein shake and run home and eat a meal within 10 minutes. The anabolic window is not a real thing, although I do believe that you do benefit from eating about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour in terms of replenishing your glycogen stores in the muscles, because they do seem more responsive to carbohydrates, not to protein. So if anything, you want more carbs after your workout. A lot of people think you need protein. Protein just needs to be constant throughout the day. Carbohydrates are where you could go home, and this is where you can get more fun. This is where your diet can not be so boring. You could have a bagel, 50 carbs. You could have 60 carbs of 2 bowls of cereal. Cinnamon Toast Crunch, great choice. Fruit Loops, even better. You could have 60 grams of so 50 from the bagel, 60 carbs from there. You could have some fruit, some pineapple, maybe 15 carbs from there. And yeah, you're at 125 grams of carbs plus the 100 pre-workout. You're at 225. Great. You pretty much hit your macros on that, and then I would do some chicken with the bagel. So at this point, you've hit almost all your macros besides your fat. Now, I would then, before I go to bed, use the remaining amount of my fat, the remaining amount of my protein, and the remaining amount of my carbs, which isn't a lot, granted, for my pre-bed meal. Now, you do not get fat from eating carbs before bed. However, I do believe that eating something before you go to bed helps with the cravings that you can get at night. A lot of people get really bad cravings before bed, so they rip open the potato chips and they start plowing those. And if you have some calories saved to the end of the day, that can help a lot. So what I would do here is some Greek yogurt, peanut butter, almond butter, dark chocolate, and protein powder to flavor the whey or the Greek yogurt. You don't need a lot of protein powder to flavor Greek yogurt, but I would get the basic plain Greek yogurt, the 0% stuff. Put in a little bit of the Greek of your favorite flavor. Fruit Loop from Magnum is amazing. Not sponsored by them, but it's my favorite. So what I do is I take Greek yogurt, I put some whey in there, I mix it up, I throw in about, like, it's macro dependent, right? So you have quite a bit of fats. You have 30 fats left. So you can put a bunch of peanut butter in there. You can put some dark chocolate in there, maybe 20 grams of dark chocolate, 20 grams of peanut butter, 30 grams of peanut butter, some Greek yogurt, and then mix it all up, put it in the freezer, all right? Now, when that shit comes out, it's like you're eating a mini dessert before bed. Greek yogurt's pretty slow digesting, and you know, you got a bunch of fat. It's going to slow it down even more. You're not going to wake up hungry. That's how I do things. So, like I said, you don't have to do it that way. You could split your carbs up. Oatmeal in the morning with eggs. You could do chicken, rice, and some olive oil. You could do, after you work out, you could slam a protein shake and eat a Pop-Tart. You know, you could have 2 scoops of whey and a Pop-Tart after you work out. If you're going to eat anything bad, just do it after you work out, and make sure there's no fat in it. So you want a Pop-Tart, cereal, whatever, I don't give a shit. Eat that after your workout. That's your window. That's where you fit your treat in every day, and you won't feel like you're dieting as much. It'll also give you motivation to go to the gym, because, you know, on the days that you go to the gym, you get your good food. You get your bagel and your cereal. Like, I love cereal. So after I work out, I'm always fucking stoked because I get to come home and I get to have fucking chocolate frosted flakes. I would suggest using almond milk for this to lower the calories. But yeah, that's how I do it. And then on the rest days, I would cut a lot of the carbs out, and I would cut them until later in the day. So my first 2 meals would just be protein and fat, and then the meals after that would be protein and carbs. And then before bed, I would still do the Greek yogurt kind of fat meal. Now, like I said, if you wanted to split it up equally, that's up to you, man. Like, it honestly doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I do think insulin sensitivity is fairly important. So having periods in the day where you're not bombarding yourself with a ton of carbs is good. Having lower carb days is good for the body. Yeah, especially when you're overweight. A lot of you guys, if you're overweight, will have bad insulin sensitivity issues. Now, if you have really bad and you're pre-diabetic, hypertensive, you process carbs like complete shit, this is a good time to try a ketogenic diet. I am not a fan of ketogenic diets. I do not like them. I do not think they give you good performance in the gym. I think you need carbs for power. However, if you like ketogenic and you can stay on it, great. I'll never hate on you for doing it. But I do think its one use is if you are in that area where your blood sugars are all over the place and you're worried about it, ketogenic diets are very good for controlling blood sugars. So doing it for 3 to 6 months and then slowly reintroducing carbohydrates can be a big help. So this is part 1 of just finding your macros. I will do a more in-depth video on planning your meals and how to train. This was just part 1. Tell me what you guys think. Peace.